Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm not Karina.
But we're here together.
As usual.
For more fun times and shenanigans. If this is your very first time joining us, welcome. We've had a lot of new growth on the channel, so
yeah,
we are welcoming each and every one of you and those of you who we've seen in the Discord, which is great. So this is your episode for you.
Yeah. This is a reintroduction for others.
But this is our sibling duo podcast / YouTube channel about life living with invisible and chronic illnesses, including mental illness. Good golly. And we're more experiential. So we're more on the like day-to-day living side of things and less on the clinical side of things.
Yes.
So it gets silly and it gets weird. And like I said, we're siblings, so it gets belligerent.
A lot.
And it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
You'll love it. Stick around.
Yeah. If this is your first time and you want to join us on other platforms, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, and there's one other big one. Amazon.
Music.
Yes.
Yep.
And then a couple other small sites.
Yes.
And if
we're
you want
also
to...
on TikTok.
Yep. Which is where a lot of you have found us.
Yes.
So awesome. Like our TikTok, the one TikTok did really well.
Yes.
So hopefully people have watched it and gotten something from it.
Yeah.
You can also watch our shorts everywhere else.
Yeah.
There are shorts.
Pretty much. Facebook.
But TikTok is where it's at.
Right.
You can also join us if you want to like join our community. We have a really nice community on Discord. And we do our lives there.
Yep.
On Fridays and Saturdays if you want to listen in or join in or have questions or just want to yell at us.
Just talk.
Yeah.
It's a good time for everybody.
Right. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
We literally just hanging out.
Yeah. The lurking is totally okay too.
Mm-hmm.
So come hang out with us.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So yeah, this is your welcome episode. Normally we do a weekly recap, but we're going to keep it shorter today so that we can dive into the other things. So before we can move on, it is time for the weekly recap.
Check in.
Indeed. It's been a week. It's been really hot.
She said brief. She meant brief. It's been a week.
It's been a week. It's been really hot.
Yes.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Well, my week has a lot to do with like the TikTok and stuff because I was
Yeah.
monitoring all that and like running it.
Yeah. So let's save that and I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay. So my week was kind of crazy. I went caving last Sunday, which was so much fun.
Real
caving.
caving.
My God. Yeah.
Like not just walking through a cave. She did the real caving, like going through hard spots and crawling in mud.
On your belly and so much fun and 30-foot crazy crickety ladders and really
She found her new thing.
Yes.
Which is funny because I've been watching caving videos like no one's business for like the last 3 or 4 months.
Which is funny. We need to go.
I would totally be game to go caving.
It's so much fun. And apparently, if you have EDS, you're great at caving. There you go. Then I had to spend some days recovering because that was a lot of spoons. It's like a 3-hour expedition that's very physically demanding.
Yeah.
Very muddy. So I spent a couple days recovering, and then my oral surgery got moved up.
Yeah.
And we did that on Wednesday. I had 2 teeth removed, which is great and fun and awesome. Oh, but I had anesthesia for the first time.
Yeah.
For dental. And I don't care how much more it cost. That was the way to go.
It really is.
That was the way to go. It was fantastic.
For EDSers, it makes all the difference in the world. It makes it easier for the dentist. It makes it easier on you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it has extra cost, but.
Right. But then you don't have that moment of like trying not to bite the dentist because your jaw is fatiguing and slowly starting to clamp down.
Or the 17 times that the numbing wears off halfway through a tooth repair or like a root canal or.
Right. Or they didn't numb you deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ugh. So that was the way to go. It was like an hour and a half, super easy. They did great with the anesthesia. So I came back quick and was ready to go.
Yeah.
It was totally fine.
Was it the gas?
IV?
No,
IV.
Okay.
Yeah. IV. It was great. I liked it. So I've been running around trying to deal with hole in face for a little while.
Yeah.
Which feels better than the tooth that was crushed, but stitches in my mouth suck.
Drive her nuts.
Oh, it's
Drives
awful.
me nuts too, though. I can't look
well,
at them
because they stitch it when it's swollen.
Yeah,
and then when
it
the
gets
swelling
loose.
goes down, and then there's just this loose string in your mouth that sometimes pulls on your skin.
Yeah.
Don't like it. But yeah, that was my week.
Yeah, mine was pretty good. Like, physically, it was a rough week, but the stuff on TikTok was really exciting. So we on Monday, because we didn't meet on Sunday because you did caving.
Yep.
Monday we got together to do the edit and the like collab stuff that we normally do.
Yeah.
And I decided that we would take some of the Patreon money and promote one of our videos on TikTok just to see what would happen. And we did the promotion for like a day, and then another video was discovered and exploded.
Yeah.
And it was a really good one. It was the one about the wheel spin. And oh my God.
Yeah. Because if you have EDS, you can go watch the TikTok, but we describe it as you spin a wheel, you get your awful, terrible prize for the day.
Yeah.
Then the demon next to the wheel is like, okay, so you got these 3 things that are going to be bothering you all day. Here's 2.5 spoons for you.
Yep.
Also, you've got 2 events that you've got to be ready for. So get out there.
Yeah.
No rest.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's always so much fun.
Right.
But that one exploded because it's relatable.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us use that as our greatest analogy.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, you will now, because
it's a fight with doctors about trying to explain EDS pain versus like chronic pain, or what's known to be chronic pain.
Chronic pain, and then there's pain that is chronic.
Yes.
It happens every day, but it's different. Yeah. So I was monitoring that and managing it, and you were doing comments, which was really good.
Yeah.
I wanted to comment on so many things, but I was scared. I was like, I don't want to jump in and ruin what they're talking about.
I know.
But
well, there were really good conversations going on too.
Really good.
So yeah, and a ton of you found us. We doubled in size on TikTok.
Yeah.
Which was insane to see happen over like 4 or 5 days.
And we have a few people in the Discord now, and we grabbed some people onto YouTube. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. This is for the newbies.
Yes.
And a refresher for the old timers.
Yes. So
oldies.
Yeah. Well, the oldies.
The
original.
The other thing that happened, which I have to talk about, is that I had that fever.
Oh yeah.
On-off fevers. Like Jen has a cold. I just inherited fevers, but I've discovered that since the sepsis, my hearing goes out, like tinnitus.
Yeah.
When I run a fever is just insane. I just hear ringing and I can't hear anything else. And I have the horrible nightmares.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's been like, what, 2 months since sepsis?
2 or 3, yeah.
I don't think it's been 3.
No.
Probably not that many.
Almost 3. We're coming up on 3 in like August.
Okay.
Because we're at the end of...
Yeah, we're at the end of July.
So yeah, that's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, it is what it is.
Terrible fever dreams and...
Little PTSD from it. Because it's the feeling. There's like a vibe, like a grossness that comes with it that I can't.
That your body and brain are like, oh my God, we're going back into sepsis.
Yeah, exactly.
Here we go. And then anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. Awesome. Well...
On that
I know. I was like, wow. Oh, but then, this week's just been... It's been so hot. And bodies are not cooperative at all this week. So we're
not even a little
trying to manage. And it's hot here today. So we're going to try to manage in general.
Yeah, I'm definitely having a potty day too.
Yes.
Ugh.
Oh my God, for the last few. Even my husband was experiencing the fatigue.
Yeah.
That was what we didn't mention, was the fatigue days.
Yeah.
The non-functional days.
Which made it scary because I was actually blacking out.
Yeah.
But I was blacking out after staying awake for like 3 days.
Right.
So, but it coincided, right?
Sleep.
It was that, and then the fevers. So it was the blacking out randomly.
Yeah.
And then it was like I was back in it. I hated it.
No.
But it's fine.
No.
I'm fine now.
You are good. No more sepsis.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Right.
We tried it. We'll move on.
Right.
Also, I got a thing from Kaylee, and it's living right here, and I love Kaylee. Thank you, Kaylee. I love you. I miss you.
Ditto. But I didn't get a note.
She doesn't mean it. Not as much.
I don't know. I try, okay? Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we are going to give you kind of the rundown on what Fantastic Pains is and what we're all about. Our first little note here is like who we are. So who is Fantastic Pains?
we're a podcast.
Yeah.
We're the brainchild of our spouses, basically.
Yes.
Because they both urged us to do this based on conversations that we would have.
Yeah.
The conversations that we have on the podcast are literally just what we were doing on Saturday anyway.
Yes.
We would get together.
We would visit, and then we would just talk, and then you could watch your spouse, Jen, kind of watch us go back and forth and get really excited at points and point things out.
Yeah.
And then one day looked at us and was like, you need a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, nah, that's
yeah, we could never
silly.
do that. Who would be interested in that?
And then it was not very long after that.
No. Well, because my other one fell through. I was supposed to do a podcast with a friend about game development.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to because he had just gotten a job in games development. Imagine that. And I had the equipment, and I was like, I literally called Karina. I was like, all right, we're doing it this Saturday.
Yeah. He was like, we're starting a podcast. I got all this stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm in. And then Fantastic Pains comes from my husband. He gave us the name and allowed us to use it. It was from many conversations about the joke of what my life's book would be titled. And so he went through a list, and it was like, we should just call it Good News, everyone. And then he goes, no, wait, Fantastic Pains and how we hide them. And I was like,
sold.
I have to do something with that name.
Yeah.
And so the two things kind of came together, married, and here we are.
Yeah.
We are Fantastic Pains.
And it's interesting, too, to point out, like, that everything that's happened on the podcast has been so natural.
Yes.
Like, our growth, and when we do things, just happens to line up with, like, the right time to do it. Like, the TikTok thing. Yeah. Just happened.
We joke that the podcast made itself.
It did.
Because it has thus far.
Yeah.
Like, we've never pushed anything. We've never been out for, like, crazy views or anything. We literally wanted to make a platform for other people who felt the way that we felt.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That ties into our mission statement.
Yeah.
The idea being that you're not alone.
Yes.
And you shouldn't experience things alone or feel like you're alone in it.
So our whole mission statement was about exposing the suffering in the world so that we could all see that we were all suffering. And that way we didn't have to suffer alone. Because when we mask, we pressure each other back and forth to mask because we're all trying to pretend we're all good. And so we can't find each other.
Right.
And that leaves us feeling alone and isolated and without people who understand us. Because especially if you have chronic and invisible illnesses, it can be really difficult for people around you to understand you in general.
It's also tough. I've seen this happen a lot where you have, like, you meet somebody who has the same thing as you and they mask in front of you.
Yeah.
So they come off as fine, which makes you then in turn mask because you want to be fine.
Yeah.
And you're both dying inside.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for it.
Right.
Like with anybody else, masking makes sense. I get it. But when you're dealing with like another zebra, that's when you should be like, isn't this the worst? Aren't we dying right now?
This is horrible.
Yeah. I see that a lot, and it breaks my heart.
Right. Well, and if you don't know what the term zebra means, we both have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, along with a bunch of other comorbid conditions.
Yes.
But we kind of use Ehlers-Danlos as this umbrella where everything else kind of falls within, because somehow lots and lots of things are related. But it gives us a good understanding of people who may not share our same conditions.
Right.
But we share so many experiences.
Yes.
And so even if you are like the only one in the world with your specific condition, there are tons of people who could probably understand a lot of what you go through.
Yes.
And you don't have to be alone.
Well, and this is something we learned from the podcast.
Yes.
We didn't know that so much, I'd say. Like, we didn't internally acknowledge it, like, know it as a fact, until, like, one of my friends who has no conditions was watching and was like, no, I relate to this.
Yeah.
Like, he specifically was referring to imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is something I knew he dealt with, and everyone who has a condition deals with. Yes. And people deal with.
Yeah.
Like, feeling inadequate and, like, you don't belong where you are. That happens to everybody.
Right.
So, like, our discussions on that helped him to understand himself a little better.
Which is great. And that's really what it's all about, is, like, we wanted to create a space for us to see each other.
Yeah.
So that we could actually be seen and drop the mask and not have to feel like we need it.
Right.
Because, yeah, we're protecting ourselves, but we're also blinding ourselves from one another.
Very true.
So that's really the birthplace of Fantastic Pains, was we felt alone. We didn't like the weird social scripting that happens in I don't know, Facebook groups especially is one.
Yeah.
Where you see a lot of people talking about a lot of things, but there's no interconnection.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to find, right? Everything feels more surface level and shallow.
Yeah.
Unless it's super dire.
We'll get into this more a little bit later, but the community that we've developed is built on this just openness.
Right.
And everyone seems comfortable with each other to be open, which is really interesting. But
we started with never sorry.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Never be sorry.
Never be sorry. You're good.
Because
we're all ill.
Because we all did it. Everybody who joined the Discord, and even us when we first started hanging out after re-meeting each other, we're like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to I'm not trying to upset anyone, or I'm not trying to dump.
Right. No, or oh, I know you have it worse, so I don't want to.
Exactly. We don't do that. No comparative suffering.
Right. That was rule number 1. We're all suffering. It doesn't matter who's suffering the most right now.
Yeah.
Can we just be with one another?
Yep. And that's the baby. That's the podcast.
Yeah.
You wanna do a breakdown of conditions that we have?
Sure.
Because I have a lot. This will be fun.
I'm gonna have to write.
She is gonna
down
because
to keep track.
There's much.
We're gonna use a new page. Ready?
Ooh, you guys get a whole page.
Ooh.
And it's sideways and everything. Okay, this is exciting. Okay. I'm gonna have you so beat when it comes to the mental.
I know.
I'm so psychotic.
You want to start mental?
Yeah. Okay. Let's start mental because we haven't really talked about that yet in the video. But, hi, I'm Chris. I'm mentally ill. I have been diagnosed with ADHD. I have chronic depression. I have complex post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yep.
I have anxiety, but not anymore so much. The high-functioning anxiety has been dealt with. And my favorite one, I'm bipolar 2.
Yes.
And I'm not afraid to talk about it.
Did we say anxiety and depression?
Yeah, anxiety and depression. What else? I feel like there was something else, but I'll remember it later and yell it out, call and response.
You got some PTSD. You got some complex PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both made of trauma.
Yes, and we make jokes about it.
Yeah, it gets kind of dark, but everything is funny because that's how we survive.
Yes. It's funny or die.
Yes.
.com.
.gov.
Well, no, it's an actual site. Funny or die.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. CP.
A lot of the content that we watch now would have lived on that back in the day.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Did I get them all?
Yeah, and I'm open about all of it.
Right.
I used to be ashamed of them, but now knowing that I have them and being able to talk about them makes it, there's no shame in it. These are things I have. My brain is wired this way. I can't change it.
Yeah.
I'm treated and I take care of myself. You know
what we both forgot?
What?
We're silly gooses.
Oh no, what is it? No, I said it. I have ADHD.
Oh, you got it. I missed it. ADHD, yeah.
Yep. I used to make a joke because I didn't buy that I was ADHD, that I was neural.
Oh yeah.
There's neurodivergent. I was neuro-adjacent.
Yes.
I wasn't fully ADHD.
Right.
I just didn't know that there were different colors of ADHD. Yeah. And then I learned about it, and now I know.
Yeah. Well, and we kind of have, back to not being able to accept it, we had to learn to stop assigning morality to the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
We had to stop thinking about it as bad. It's bad thing. And we see all these stereotypes of this bad condition.
It's upsetting because when I moved out and I was living with my friend and his family, my surrogate mother suggested once that I was bipolar, and I got fucking offended.
Yeah.
I melted down, which was a very bipolar response. Of course.
Yes.
But I was like, no, that's not me. There's no way. And I quietly left the room and went upstairs, and I was upset for the good part of a Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. But she was right. Yeah. And there was no morality. She didn't have she wasn't coming at it with a morality. Right. I was. That was my problem.
Right.
But now I'm able to talk about it. So
yes. So we're very open about things just in general. There's not much we don't talk about as a whole.
We've talked about everything. Go back in the episodes. Literally, we've talked about everything.
Pretty much, yes. So we kind of go round and round and rehash. But so on my end, we've got depression. They just removed anxiety within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I've been fighting that forever where I'm like, I'm not anxious about things.
Well, and quick side note, everything gets dumped onto anxiety if you have it on there.
Yes.
So it's nice to get it removed from your list. Mm-hmm. If you're functioning and you don't have the anxiety, it's nice to not have a scapegoat for every problem you have.
Right.
For doctors, because they'll be like, oh, it's just your anxiety.
It's anxiety.
Oh, you're bleeding out your nose? Anxiety. Oh, what's that?
Your arm is broken and twisted sideways.
Your arm's completely gone?
But you're being really anxious about it.
Yeah,
so I'm going to need you to calm down.
Yeah, rein it back. God, it's
Get
just
a grip.
I can't. My arm's gone. Anyway.
Yes. So that's the mental health and emotional health.
Yep.
Moving on. Let's say we both have... Where should we start? So obviously, we've got the Ehlers-Danlos type 3.
Yeah.
Or hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos.
Yeah. Heads.
Yep.
Or type 3. I also have neurofibromatosis, which is a tumor developing... my nerves develop tumors around them.
Yes.
In
and
spots.
you have type 1.
Type 2.
NF2?
NF2, yeah.
Okay.
And I've had a surgery to remove a tumor from my spinal column. The actual column, the bundle had a tumor on it, and I had to have it removed. So I have back problems because of that.
Yep.
Which is fun. What else? MCAS.
Yep.
MCAS is a fun one that everyone should recognize if you don't. Mast cell activation is what that stands for. And it's a histamine release response to external stimulation.
Yes.
That
or
doesn't
internal.
Make sense.
There was a case of a woman who was so allergic to literally everything that they had to build her an airlock.
Yeah.
Her husband couldn't be near her.
Mm-hmm.
And the only people she could interact with were her siblings because she was not allergic to them.
Yeah. And to dumb it down even more, it's just an allergic it's like your body has an allergic response to random things. Like in her case, she can exercise and break out.
Yes. Yeah.
I do that a little bit too.
Yeah. Or water temperatures sometimes can set off an allergic reaction. Sweat. Yeah, I'm allergic to my sweat.
I hate that one. That one hurts.
One's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Just oof. Ugh. Not fun.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up for MCAS.
Yeah.
MCAS it's stupid. It's really great.
It's just
we don't like that one. Then we have POTS or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is this fun condition in which your heart rate, there's more to it. So heart rate tachycardia, right? Orthostatic is positional. Postural orthostatic.
Yeah.
But it also causes fainting, which is really fun.
Yeah.
It can cause massive episodes of fatigue. It can make it really difficult for your brain to get enough oxygen. So it can make you really tired, sleepy tired.
Can it also be attributed to the brain fog?
Yes. Oh yeah. Well,
right.
The funny thing is all of this
adds to
the brain fog.
Yeah.
So it's just, we're good at thinking. Yeah. But POTS is really disruptive because you have episodes of the tachycardia. So for me, I had an episode, this is my famous episode from work, where I was I walked in from lunch and I was at 152 and I was like, what in the heck is going on? And then we hit 170 and then we hit 210 and then I had to lay down on my back with my head, with my feet above my head, and still was living at 150, 160.
For no reason.
So sometimes we just go tacky and try not to faint.
Yeah.
And try to wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
But it means that we have to take in extra salt and extra fluid, because blood volume can be really helpful for that.
Right.
And
compensates for the pressure issues.
Yes. But it's also the reason that we sit in some of the stupid positions that
EDS sitting, which you do if you have EDS.
Yep.
That's all about maintaining blood pressure.
Yep. And like joint stability.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun time. It's great. What else?
Dysautonomia.
Oh, yes.
So I have POTS, like thyroid issues galore, but
POTS and some say MCAS. MCAS is still kind of its own because they're autoimmune.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different category, but kind of the same. So dysautonomia is basically your autonomic nervous system doesn't. It's like, I don't know how to regulate my temperature, can't regulate my heart rate, can't regulate my sleep cycles, can't regulate my rest and digest cycles. You hold your breath for no reason. That one's kind of weird.
You did not just catch me doing that.
Did you really?
Yeah. You said that. I was like, I am holding my breath.
Like you're holding your breath? Yes. Dysautonomia.
Yeah. And then there was another one I just thought of, but I forgot what it was instantly. That's fantastic. It had something to do with dysautonomia. Oh, the metabolism. Metabolizing medications randomly.
Yes.
And hardcore. So
this... Go ahead.
No.
Sorry,
I like your explanation.
Cut you off. So this is a really interesting one. So with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it's really well known that we struggle with anesthesia of all types. So when we are given like local anesthesia, especially for like dental, this is why being tranked was so good. We don't stay numb for very long at all. We don't stay numb in the correct places. It can be really hard to numb us up in the first place. I've had times where it's like 6 different shots to try to numb me up.
Yep.
And then by then we're fed up, and we've both done this, and we laugh hysterically when we learned it from one another, that we've just both been like, you know what, it hurts, but I don't care, and I'm tired of you putting
I just want to be done.
Needles in me, and my eyeball is numb.
I'd rather you just do the thing and hurt me than continue to try and numb me.
Yeah.
But we found a good place.
Yes.
Like this last at Aurora Dentistry.
Yeah. They're amazing.
He saw that I had EDS. He didn't even say anything, but he numbed me up. But he hit the trigeminal nerve. Like he did everything back here and then did some local around it.
Yep.
And it was enough that lasted. I was really impressed with him.
Which is awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
And then you have, let's see what else. Sticky spiders.
Oh yeah, adhesive arachnoiditis, from the surgery. So when
I'm just calling it AA.
I have AA. When they removed the tumor, they had to cut open.
Yes, so the tumor was from NF2.
NF2, yeah.
Yeah.
And what they did was, it's called a God, I can't remember the name. Laminectomy.
Oh, okay.
That's when they open up. They cut the bone and they open it. And they fold it, I think. Like they're able to do that just to widen it, to get in there. And then when they close it, you heal. But the dura, the tissue that goes around the spinal column, has scar tissue. And that scar tissue likes to stick to itself and to the other walls, which causes more scar tissue, which puts pressure on the spinal column, which is not great. It causes lots of pain and kind of phantom issues down below it.
It's an extremely painful condition because you're literally compressing your spinal cord.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really been an issue.
Nerves are
until recently again.
Having problems.
Like it wasn't as bad, but it started to flare up recently.
Yeah.
It's just fun for everybody.
It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I have Tennessee. I have trigeminal neuralgia. And that just showed up in May. Yeah. Right? April, May.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fun because now we're on a weird remission. And the remissions can last months to years or sometimes weeks. And I've had many episodes in between. But trigeminal neuralgia is nicknamed the suicide disease because it is so incredibly painful. Like I've never had a 10 and I've seen pain. And trigeminal neuralgia is the 10. So that was super fun to...
There's your defense mechanism.
I know. I'm like, yay, it's so fun. I love it. No, trigeminal neuralgia was horrible.
Yeah.
Awful, horrible, terrible, bad times.
Honestly, it was impressive that we were able to keep on, though.
Yeah.
Like you would have episodes during episodes.
Yes.
And it's like, it's really awkward because like I want to like
do something.
Yeah. And especially with the camera on me, like I just like when it would happen, I would just sit back and like let it happen because what am I going to do?
Well, because the only way through it is through it.
But it looks like I'm being impatient. Like, oh God, she's doing it again.
I'm going to have to go back and watch
I can't believe she's doing this. No, I made I made a very, very serious effort to not do that. I was always like,
yeah, like, your face. Your face is hurting all of us. I know it does. It's okay.
Yeah. No, it's not a fun thing to watch, and it's so random.
Yeah.
Like she would have random ice pain or hot pain or up here or down here or in her mouth or
inside my mouth. Both sets of teeth, like upper and lower, and it was misery.
Horrible.
Awful. So hopefully that will stay in remission for a while, but also I kind of wish it hadn't gone into remission.
Yeah.
Because now it's just like a jump scare that I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
So what else?
I think that covers it pretty easily.
Oh, movement disorder.
Oh, yes.
We both have okay, so
I hate the movement disorder.
This is a weird one because wait, let's just go with small fiber neuropathy.
Okay.
Because we both have that for sure. So small fiber neuropathy, which means that in hands and feet especially, we lose feeling or have nerve pain.
Yep.
I am really prone to dropping things. Sometimes I have a hard time with fine motor skills.
Yeah. I can't feel my foot.
Yes.
My right foot doesn't exist in my body.
Right.
And it's not like a blood flow thing. Like my feet are perfectly fine. They're getting blood flow. I just have no sensation because of a pinched nerve somewhere.
Yeah. No, it's not a fun time for anybody. So the small fiber neuropathy is its own thing, but we think that it is connected to some of the dysautonomia and the movement disorder.
Yeah.
We had somebody in the TikTok, and I'll address this later too, talking about functional neurologic disorders.
Yeah.
And those are super, super common with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah.
Because I think partially, and this is like the small fiber neuropathy, it's all related, I think. We suffer compression injuries really easily because we dislocate all the time.
I like how we didn't even mention that.
I know. We're like HEDS all by itself. You know what that is, don't you?
Yeah, you dislocate. You have bad connective tissue, which connects everything, even your teeth. So
easy bruising, veins that explode.
Yep. You could have a dissected aortic event, which is fun.
Aneurysm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a trip, man. But yes, it affects your collagen, and collagen is literally everywhere.
Yeah.
It also affects your mouth and can cause a lot of havoc with dental work.
Yep.
So I don't think I know a zebra who's not missing teeth.
No, it's very common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even dentists are more aware of it than doctors are sometimes.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Especially our current one. So.
Right. Yeah.
Before break, because we're almost done, I wanted to do like a quickly like, who are we?
Oh, yes.
Like, hi, I'm Chris. I'm old. And by old, I mean I'm in my late 30s because I'm afraid to say 37. Whoops.
Whoopsies.
I mean, we started when I was 35. That was old. I'm old. I'm ancient. I'm a decrepit old. No, I'm not.
And I was a child. No,
I'm a stay-at-home dad / podcaster. I have 2 kids, and I have a wife who loves me.
Yes. And she has ADHD too.
Yeah, bad.
Lots of it.
And before everything, I was in the tech field. So I used to do computer hardware. I used to do computer repairs. I used to do software. And I still do
on the side.
On the side, yeah.
He builds computers. They're wonderful. I just called them Franken computers because you always have parts.
Yeah, I do.
You always have the ability to.
I'm
build
that guy that's
a
like
computer
where someone's like, "Hey, my LAN port's not working." Like, I gotcha.
need a computer, and suddenly
I have a part for you, or I have a whole computer
fabricated one. Yeah. From nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy computer building. It's my thing. What about you? What are you like?
Hi, I'm Karina, and I am 30, which means I started when I was 28 years old. And I'm a teacher, which was a mistake.
No, it wasn't.
No, I love my job. I work with students with high trauma cases. I'm a special educator by training. And I really enjoy working with behaviors, especially. Those are my, that's my jam. I love those kids. They're my favorite. Yeah, I'm not much more than that. I don't know.
No.
Oh, I'll be teaching art this year,
Yeah,
which will be really interesting.
She's a sailor at heart.
Yes.
We both are.
We both sail.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 dogs and 2 cats because MCAS doesn't stop me.
She fights for them. She's always been an animal person.
Yes.
Like it was a foregone conclusion that you would have many animals, regardless of allergic reactions or not.
So
allergies be damned.
I have fur babies. I don't have any children yet. My husband and I bought our house just over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 3 years. Yes. And we are half siblings. So if you're confused as why
I'm the white version of the family, we come in many colors.
Yes.
We come in brown, not so brown, and then pasty. I'm the Nordic
olive.
variant. That's the difference. I got the Nordic variant.
So we share a dad, but not a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was one other thing I was thinking of, and I lost it. It was really clever and smart and cool. Things I'm not. Things I am not. Yeah.
I am not a small frog on a lily pad.
Yeah, pretty much. Was there one more thing that we were going to go over before break?
We were going to talk about the community.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes.
So we have an amazing community of people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how it happened. It makes no sense to us because we were very scared to start a Discord.
Yes. I was terrified. I was like, we're going to lose our baby.
Yeah. Like,
and then
no.
That's not what happened.
Yeah. We started a Discord and we have a bunch of regulars that are always in there willing to talk about anything.
Yes.
We have people who lurk all the time,
mm-hmm.
but we love you regardless. Like, we know you're there.
Yes.
We know you're listening. Yeah. And then we decided to do our live streams through Discord too. So we do all of our interaction that way, mainly, right?
Most of the time.
And the community has come up with so many things for us.
Yes.
So many ideas that have been suggested, like the physical vlog, the workout vlogs, or the music reviews. And we have a section for music reviews.
Like topic suggestions, episode discussion, venting, and symptom talk, which is just, it's incredible the feedback you get from people when you're like, hey, I have this weird thing that I thought nobody could possibly understand. And you have all of this input from people who have been there and done it and seen it and maybe even had it treated and know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
or know where to go to do that.
Yes.
Like what path to take to get there. It's amazing. So we strongly suggest that if you're watching the podcast, you join the Discord.
Yes.
Even if you just read what's going on, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, we're lovely people. There's none of that I'm sicker than you.
Nope.
It's not a competition.
Yeah.
It's just everyone caring for everyone.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, like, we have these people who are just so genuine, just so lovely and genuine, and every single week I think we sing their praises because we just can't stop. They're fantastic. And some of them have been there since like the very beginning, and they are part of the reason the podcast has flourished. And our Patreon actually is the reason that we've had so much growth through TikTok, which is really cool.
Yeah. We have full unedited episodes that we do. So we record a bunch in one block. Yeah. There's a before, the recording, and then after. Yes. And we put the whole thing up there for Patreon, and we were singing their praises earlier, but we'll say it again in public because we're not afraid to.
You're going to get the love and you're going to like it.
Yeah. The Patreon is really given us a lot of opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Right. So we've been able to kind of push more things out there for people to find, which has been really cool. Yeah. And seen really awesome feedback. And then we have our like elder zebras, which is so cool because it's hard. You don't know what year to year is going to look like when you have, especially Ehlers-Danlos, but I'm sure other chronic illnesses as well that are unpredictable, and kind of EDS is like, I don't know, it's a bull in a china shop. You never know what it's going to do.
Exactly.
Who knows what it's breaking next. But yeah, no, the community is fantastic, and they really have taken part in this podcast and taken ownership in the podcast, which I adore. So this podcast is as much the community's as it is ours.
Exactly.
I feel like.
Exactly. That's how we approach it.
A ton of input and help us plan episodes and look into topics, and it's a really alive community.
Yeah.
Right. It has a lot of life to it. So.
And we need to mention that we have other members of the Fantastic Paints crew. We have your husband, Randy,
yes,
who does a lot for us.
Yes.
He does a lot of background work, and he's usually with us in the background, willing to like chime in, but he's out doing fun things today.
Yes.
Can't blame him.
He's on a play date.
And there's my wife who helps me with the uploads.
Yes.
And she likes to join in on occasion, but she is at work because she's got to win the bread.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, that's Fantastic Paints. That's what you're getting into.
So after break, we're going to come back and talk a little bit about the TikToks and the feedback from the community and questions that we can answer.
Yeah.
Because there were some really, really good questions that we want to be able to put back onto TikTok for people to be able to see.
Yeah.
So before that, some of you know what to do. Some of you might not.
Mm-hmm.
It is break time, which means you need to drink some water, hydrated or dehydrate.
You need to have a snack because you are a snack.
You are a snack and you deserve it. Go
Duh.
get a snack. Take a break from whatever you're doing if you are able, and if you need to, just take a minute, check in with yourself and see if you need to take that break.
Yeah. And then do something nice for yourself today.
Right.
You got to keep that mental health up. You're worth it.
Yes.
You have value.
Be kind to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or else.
We'll come for you.
I'm coming over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Start beating people up. So we're going to go do some of those things ourselves, and we'll be back in a minute.
Bye.
Oh, hi. Do you like Fantastic Paints? Would you like to see more of the Fantastic Paints podcasting crew? If so, you should join our Patreon. The Patreon, as we like to call it, is the new home of our behind-the-scenes content, full uncut recording sessions, our short-form videos such as TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and our past live streams. You can also find some Patreon exclusive content such as our new music reviews, lost episodes, and is the new home of our Mini Voices series, all of which can be found in our higher tier dubbed The Only Pains. The Patreon is the best way to support the podcast, so whether you want to see more of us or just want to help us grow, feel free to sign up following the link in the description below, and hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back. We're joined by people we forgot to mention.
Oh, yes.
We have Double Mint. Poof. I was like, that's not Double Mint.
No.
And then we have Razzle.
Yes.
We also have the big boys.
There's a menagerie behind the camera.
Yeah, we have Menchie, Fen, Dooney, and Fred Bob George.
Yes.
And then we have a Narwhal. And then we have Greg
bunny.
and... Sorry,
Sherbert.
I always get stuck at
Sherbert
Greg,
and Greg
because Greg's always staring at me.
Greg's a psychopath. Here's Greg. He has seen some stuff. He's also maybe a serial killer.
Yeah.
Maybe. And this is Sherbert. And Sherbert is horrified at life because Sherbert knows Greg.
Yeah, and Greg's seen some shit. You gotta keep saying it. Greg really has. Okay, get out of here. Get
disheveled.
Get out of here. This is now it's a
back on
collection.
the shelf with you.
Yeah. Anyways, it felt wrong to not mention them. They were named by the community, so
yes,
we had to get that in there. In this half, we wanted to do kind of talk about some of the comments that we got on TikTok.
Yes,
because a lot of them are worth expanding on, and we felt the need to.
Right.
So,
well, and we saw first and foremost, this is going to be the best one. Ready? People like undiagnosed but thinking they have EDS. Right. I recently saw a TikTok about a doctor who was talking about how his EDS prospective patients are usually correct.
Yeah.
And if they have EDS and they bring you a condition, they're usually correct.
That's so nice.
Because we've gone through years of being ignored by the medical system and have to create a body of research on our own.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's nice to not get your Wikipedia doctoring yourself.
Right.
You're not coming to us with fake conditions. You're not hypochondriac.
Hearing it from a doctor was really interesting because Ehlers-Danlos, we are notorious for thinking ourselves to be fakers or doing it for the attention or that we're crazy. Because that is what we've been told our entire lives pre-diagnosis.
Or how we internalize rejection.
Yes, that too.
Like, I mean, I may not have been told that I'm crazy, but I definitely tipped that on because I got no so many times. And like, not just no, but like no with prejudice.
Yeah. And you read like, oh, it's your anxiety or it's in your head or you're not processing your trauma correctly. All these things that you're like, that means I'm crazy.
Exactly.
Right. No. And it's such a frustrating thing to be on the cusp of diagnosis when you're like, I am pretty sure that I have this thing. I relate really strongly to these people and their experiences. What's the next step? How do you get diagnosed? What's the point of diagnosis?
That's huge.
Yeah.
We see that a lot, actually. Like, do I need a diagnosis? Or doctors telling us that we don't need one.
Yes.
Which is just blatantly wrong.
Right.
I hate that with a fiery passion.
It's a lie. It's a flat out lie. They say, we'll treat you the same either way, but that's not the case.
No.
Because having the diagnosis is a key to a door that opens up this whole new menu of care for you. Because if you go to the emergency room and you're like, oh, well, I think I have blah, 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 blah. And they're like, what doctor diagnosed you? And you're like, well, nobody.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, then you don't have it. And the thing you're here for, you can't have because you're too young.
It like taints the entire interaction.
Yes.
They come at you at a totally different angle when they think you're making it up or they think you're just crazy, honestly. Yeah. I had that happen a lot. I still get that. When I was in for sepsis, I had to explain to them, like, when were you diagnosed? Who diagnosed you? And I was like, 2018. And it was done this way.
Well, and you're going to come across doctors. Hopefully you won't. But there are doctors that flat out don't believe in HEDS.
Yeah. People who diagnose it who don't believe in it.
Yeah.
That's
We're
fun.
supposed to be diagnosing it, but you know.
Yep.
So there's a lot of like prejudice without diagnosis. Diagnosis is your like backstage pass. That's how you get to the care. Because otherwise they're going to gatekeep it on the grounds that you're too young. It's super rare. There's no reason we'd see that in someone who's fit and like thin or whatever, or it's your weight, it's your period, it's your anxiety.
And if you come in and you know what it is, it's streamlined. They're like, okay, I know what you can't do, what you can do.
Yes.
I know what to look for. And then they take you seriously.
Yeah.
They'll listen to the actual problem instead of this whole tirade that they have to go on.
Yeah.
Where it feels like they have a chip on their shoulder and they're just taking it out on you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially in the ER. And it's not just EDS either. It's like POTS. POTS is a big one. Like if you walk into a clinic and you're like, I just need a bag of fluids. I have POTS. They're going to be like, oh, okay. But if you go in and you're like, I just need a bag of fluids, they're going to be like, let's do an EKG. How much did you drink last night?
Right.
You know, this is not what emergency rooms are for, right? Like it is the pass. It is your ID to get to care.
Proper care. Yeah.
Well, if you're lucky.
Assuming
you're lucky. So there were some other things along that line within the comments that I found really interesting, which was somebody was talking about possibly having a difficult time getting a diagnosis because of their age.
Yeah.
Being diagnosed in your 30s, you're like, oh, well, clearly it's like they would have caught it beforehand. No, they don't, and they won't, and they wouldn't.
And you're not crazy. There are people who find out in their 50s.
Yeah.
A lot of people, unfortunately, don't get diagnosed until their later years.
Right.
So it's not a matter of getting caught or not caught. Like, it's overlooked all the time.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of us, we have to bring that diagnosis to the table ourselves.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to go find a rheumatologist that was willing to see us.
Yeah.
Both of us at the same time and present it. And then we did the checklist. And then they were like, yeah, no, you probably both have it.
Yeah. And then from there, we were able to buckle down and dig because we finally had something that lit all of the lights.
Every one of them.
Green. And we were like, this is what we have. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing we've been looking for years. For years, we searched for care.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what was wrong with us. We thought we were crazy.
Yeah. No,
They're
why
like,
couldn't we handle life? Why can everyone else do it?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
All the time.
I'm a big baby and I need to suck it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, like diagnosis, there's no age cutoff for looking for your diagnosis because practitioners miss it.
Right.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Well, and it's important even in your 50s to get proper care.
Yes.
Like, I blows my mind that people think they can just go without.
Right.
Like, well, I understand it, but like at the same time, having seen both sides, I can't imagine going without now. Like I need
having doctors, and I literally, the first doctor I saw and brought this to the table was like, you don't need a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you need that? You don't need that. What's the point? And I was like, we're not seeing you again.
No.
Bye.
She was so pissed after that appointment.
I was so angry. She was
we
like,
all were.
Well, maybe you do, but
because that was the one Jen went with you. Like we all went, but Jen got to go sit in because Jen's a staunch supporter. Yeah. She's the best buddy to have in a situation.
She knows what's appropriate.
Yeah, she left instantly, was like, we're not seeing them again.
No. She was just dismissive, and we see a lot of dismissive.
Yeah.
So, especially on the grounds of like, you're too young.
Mm-hmm.
We get that a lot. So, the older you are, I guess, the further from you're too young you are.
Well, then you're too old.
Yeah. Oh, well, they would have caught it.
Well, and what sucks is as you get older, you're less flexible.
That's what they say, but
I don't know. But that's like what the literature says,
yes.
Right? So like it's easier to, in theory, get missed.
Yeah.
Because you're not showing the obvious symptoms, but you're showing every other symptom that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's not just that you're flexible.
Well, and a lot of the criteria takes into account age.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it does.
There's different numbers to hit depending on your age.
But that's like if you're getting diagnosed. Like if you're bringing it to your doctor, they're not gonna see you and look at you and be like, "Oh no, you're flexible." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're gonna miss it.
Some of them are gonna be like, "How stretchy is your skin? It's not enough."
That one bothers me so bad.
They removed it actually as the criteria.
Thank
because
God.
It was such a problem.
Oh, you're not a carnival freak.
I don't know what stretchy skin even is. It's obviously, it's going to stretch there because that's where it's supposed to stretch.
Right.
Maybe try stretching it from your rib cage. And you're like, excuse me, what?
Stretch it from other places if you want, sir.
Just
I'll stretch wherever you want. Yeah.
I'm dehydrated. That hurts.
But yeah.
Oh, man. What was the other one?
Oh, the
Oh, functional neurologic disorders. So, the really interesting thing is I have neurological problems. Quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been doing the research for a long time. For years. It's been like 3 years of looking through the literature to try to figure out what the heck is going on. And depending on what your functional neurologic disorder is, whether it's like pseudo seizures or if it's like, non-epileptic seizures, that's one thing. But then there's also the dystonias, which is that like random flexion that you get that's really bad, and the muscles get all kinds of tight and it pulls things out of whack.
Isn't that technically what those goats have? The startling goats, I think, are dystonic.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It all locks up. But there's different degrees to dystonia too. So looking at just dystonia, not all of it's going to match because it didn't for me.
Yeah.
I had retrocollis, which is a fun thing where my head jerks backwards. Really hard. We're working on keeping that under control. But there's also like random movements or spasms that happen. I'm like body full of spasms.
Yep. I don't drive because of it.
Yeah. I drop things. I throw things. I literally throw things.
I'm sure everyone gets that.
Oh, it's terrible. Where you're holding something and suddenly you lose signal to your arm and suddenly you're not holding it anymore.
The one I hate is the disconnect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just loses signal.
You're like, what? I was holding that, and you're like, okay.
There is no arm. What are you talking about?
It disappears from your brain. The only way to describe it is that it's gone,
right? Because
and then
it's
it comes back.
Numb.
No,
it doesn't go numb. It literally just
loses signal.
Stops.
Yeah,
and then suddenly it turns back on. Super frustrating.
Yeah.
I've dropped a lot of things and thrown a lot of things and spilled a lot of things and knocked things over, and it's
and then she does this really fun thing where she'll stare at it.
Oh yeah.
If it falls, she stares at it to punish it. But people will then interpret that as she's looking at it because she wants you to pick it up for her. But that's not the case.
No, but people like look at me, look at it, and then they pick it up and try to hand it to me, and I'm like, no, it was supposed to stay on the floor for a little bit longer.
It was in trouble.
That it knows what it did
exactly.
wrong.
That makes sense to me.
But people think I'm like a psychopath who's like, yeah, I threw that on the floor. Pick it up. Pick it up.
Right, like it's a power move.
Pick it up. Get it. Get it. And they get really uncomfortable if you leave things on the ground, if you drop them.
If they read your face better too, because you look at it and you're like,
I'm like, you know what you did. Yes. So don't be worried about that. It's not uncommon within EDS as a whole. So, that one was interesting because it's like at the beginning when you have the one diagnosis.
Oh,
and then you're afraid of collecting more because it couldn't possibly, and then you look like you're collecting diagnoses.
Yep. That one drives me
and you're like,
nuts.
I'm really not trying to collect it. Like I have one at home.
We've talked about this before. We're like, your family or your friends will be like, well, didn't you have this? Like, what? You have another thing? Like, aren't they rare? Yeah. And you're like, yeah, but they're connected. Like
I literally had a neurologist look at me and go, you can have more than one, right? Like you could have both.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. Yes, exactly that. Oh my God. But it is. It like, there's a point where you're going to feel like you're just collecting them.
Yep.
And you've got all this stuff that's wrong with you. But that's why we use EDS as that umbrella. Yeah. Because everything else just kind of falls under and within. And it's a cascade effect of your body, like not being put together correctly.
And in the 4 column, reasons why you should find all your little diagnoses is that you're going to have little quirks and things that might panic you if you don't understand them. But understanding them helps you to accept it, not panic, and treat it properly.
Right. Like diagnoses are not reason for despair. Diagnoses are reason for relief and validation.
Yep.
Not that you needed that validation, but it should be a relief to you that now that thing has a name. Because at least for us, like putting a name to something has been so important.
Oh yeah.
We knew something was wrong. And I know we've talked about it in like TikToks and in episodes before where there's less grief. It's a different kind of grief.
Yeah.
We grieve for different things because I don't remember where I was going. Sorry. Where was I before?
You were talking about proper diagnoses. And then
yes. So when you're like, nope, gone again.
when you grieving in the grief aspect. When you grieve, you grieve. When you're sad, you're sad. That's where she wanted to go. I think what you were getting at was that there's grieving for a future you lost, and then there's
the relief aspect.
Right.
Yes.
The relief of knowing.
So so we never assumed that we could be like fixed or solved.
Right.
We just were relieved that the thing had a name that we could give to other people. Yeah. Because we were under such scrutiny all the time. And people don't like to believe just you're like, I have this weird thing happen, and they're like, oh, well, wouldn't a doctor like take care of that? You would think. Yep. You would think. Yeah. But it should be a relief. Those diagnoses, they're not changes to what's already happening. No. It's already been there. It's already been happening. It's just a name, a label you can put on it, which helps.
A ton.
At least in my opinion, yes.
Yeah. It did for us.
Yeah.
Like,
a ton.
God, do you remember like the search and how we were like, is it this? And they're like, no, it doesn't really fit.
I know, like trying things on, like,
this doesn't fit either. It's close. It's ish. Let's run with that for now, I guess, because nothing else makes sense. Right. But then you watch a YouTube video and you're like, oh my God.
It's this.
How did I miss that?
And you look it up and you're like,
it's actually this.
Holy cow. We found it.
When it's like all green lights and not that one red. Yeah. There's always, before there was one thing.
You were like, not really, but maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, diagnosis is super important because otherwise people are going to write you off.
Yeah. And I guess on that note, we wanted to talk a little bit about not being crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So many people were relating to that TikTok because it's relatable. Like the waking up and finding out what you're stuck with that day happens to all of us.
Right.
There's not an EDS right now that would go, well, no, it's always been this one thing. No, it hasn't. You're lying. It's been that one thing for a month maybe, and you're remembering it, but give it a week and it's going to be this other thing. I swear to God. Actually, go treat it. Go get someone to treat that thing that's bothering you. It'll
vanish.
It's gone. You'll never see it again until you stop looking to treat it, and then it'll come back in force. EDS, man.
That's like my least favorite aspect is the like, this has been bothering me for 6 weeks now. I think it's like, okay, it's hit the quota. We can ask for treatment. Then they're like, okay, we'll see you in 3 weeks.
You're like,
and then you're like, it'll be gone by then.
Yeah. Why did I bother?
It'll be gone by then. Yeah.
Oh God, I hate that so much. But you're not crazy.
No.
Like, I that's the point of the podcast. This is what we're doing here, is to make it so that you see what we're going through, and then you can relate. And if you can't relate,
commiserate.
Yeah.
Commiserate.
Understanding leads to acceptance.
Yes. Well, then you don't have to fight your illness like it's the enemy.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there are cool things. There are pluses to EDS. Just there are
like
so many negatives.
Yes. Lots of things.
They're not evenly weighed. Right. But, I mean, it's still cool in a way.
Yeah.
You get to hang out with us. That's cool.
Right?
We're cool, right?
Right? And we're never going to judge you for being like, ah!
Yeah, never say sorry.
We're never sorry.
Never sorry.
No.
And don't try to compete with your pains, please.
Yeah.
Please don't.
No. Comparative suffering is never, ever the way.
If I have a broken leg and you're like, I have leg pain, but you don't tell me about it, I'm going to be mad. I don't care that I have a worse condition at the time.
Right.
Tell me that you're in pain because you're experiencing pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't equate.
Right.
Like you can't tell me. It's not important.
We got to touch on the trigeminal neuralgia.
Oh, okay.
And how when that occurred, like as soon as I had it diagnosed and knew what it was, he got sepsis.
Sepsis is a condition in which the body is infected with an infection so bad that it dies. You die from sepsis. I didn't. Take that,
tried.
sepsis.
Yeah.
No, the day she got her diagnosis,
he was like,
she tells me, she sends me the text, and it's the last thing I see before I black the fuck out with sepsis and then go to the hospital.
Yep.
So she's like, I have trigeminal neuralgia, and I'm like, bet, die. It is so weird. That's comparative suffering for you. You have trigeminal neuralgia? No. I'm going to die.
It's competitive suffering.
Yeah, no, that's sibling competitive suffering.
But there you go.
God, I forgot about that. That was so funny.
Part.
Literally,
so
the last thing I saw was that, and then I rolled over, and then I'm in the hospital.
Yep.
Oh boy, she thought I was just being a dick.
I know. I was like, he hasn't replied to me, and I'm trying to process this.
Normally, he would
and
be
I don't know what to
responding.
do because nobody else understands me.
Sorry, I was
fun.
going through my own
Great.
thing.
I loved that. So the very last thing that I want to touch on, if you're ready to wrap up,
I can wrap up.
Is the goals here, right?
Yes.
Make it suck less, which is kind of our like treatment model.
Yes.
Is make it suck less. Can it suck a little bit less?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's what you're after.
Is there a way to make it suck less?
Yeah.
Pursue that avenue.
Yes.
For us, it's a lot of it's been surgery.
Yes.
We've done tons. I think between us, we have like 15 surgeries.
Mm-hmm. And more to come.
Always more.
Because I'm tired of my body.
Yeah, no.
So we're going to chop it up and see what happens.
But those have always been in the search of not fixing, but
Yes.
getting better.
Yes.
We wanted an improvement to the quality of life.
Right. Because honestly, if you can relate to any of what was said today, you're not going to find a cure.
Mm-mm.
Anyone who's trying to give, like, who's advertising a cure, they're trying to sell you something. And that's their goal. Their goal is not to help you.
Mm-mm.
So don't buy it. It's not a cure. There is no cure. It is a genetic condition. It is how our bodies are formed. It's how our bodies form proteins. And nothing's going to, like, fix that at this point. We have a lot of damage from subluxing and dislocating and just the positions that we put ourselves in for funsies, or when we're sleeping even.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out there looking for perfect, you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
And that's not a good place to live in.
Mm-mm.
And it takes the relief and joy out of the small improvements.
Yeah.
Because if you're searching for perfect, anything short of perfect is going to disappoint.
Right.
It's not going to be enough for you. You're going to be
that's
bummed out.
A
You're going to
bad
be
mental
frustrated.
space to be in.
And then you're going to stop seeking treatments, which is not the way to go.
No, but you can always do better.
Yes.
If you have a primary pain, focus on making that better, not gone.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? I mean, sometimes surgery can fix completely something.
Yeah.
But it's not the goal. Right. They'll even tell you when you go into surgery. They're like, "Look, we're not like." They'll ask you. It's
what's
a test.
your goal of treatment?
So that they can tell you that it might not be perfect.
Yeah.
It'll be better, but it won't be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, scar tissue is its own side effect.
Yes. Oh.
Boy. On that note, if you are having surgeries, please find a really good massage therapist and work through those scars.
Or PT.
Or a PT.
I had a really good PT who worked my scars before we did anything.
Perfect. Or a spouse who can work your scars and doesn't mind hurting you.
It hurts. It hurts bad.
It hurts so bad when you're working out scars.
Oh my God.
But holy cow, the relief and, like, the tension release is so good.
Well, and if you do it post-surgery,
healing.
You can prevent the scarring by working them out.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to deal with the, like, scar pain.
Right. Scar pain sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah, tell my spine that.
Sorry. Need to just take
I
your
need Jen to
spine
stick her hands in my
it.
spine and just wiggle it around. Jiggle me loose.
Jingle, jangle your spine a little bit.
Yeah, get rid of some tumors.
Out. Yeah. But yes, the why you want better.
Yeah.
You don't want perfect. Don't seek perfect. Just look for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's going to be a lot of, like, it's going to be work. It's going to be work.
Yes.
I feel so much better when I am consistent at working out.
Mm-hmm.
I am in a lot of pain when I'm consistently working out.
Yes.
But I have improvement other places.
Yeah.
And I feel more held together. But then I have side effects other places. So everything is kind of this, like, pros and cons trade-off.
Yeah. And you just got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
like,
don't be
try
afraid
things
of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Don't worry about the fear mongers out there.
Yeah,
because everybody's body's different.
Don't let the internet scare you.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough, sure, but it doesn't have to be horrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, jeez, if I would have thought that, like, years ago, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
When I was 27, I was a trash fire. Everything hurt, and there was nothing I could do to make it better, and I had no diagnosis, and everything was horrible, just all the time.
Yeah, at that point, you were almost bedbound.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, like,
yeah,
there were, what was that, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
2 years of being basically bedbound.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, improvement happens, and the thing about EDS is, like I said before, you don't know what tomorrow holds, much less next year.
Right.
You don't know what the journey is going to look like. We've had years that are better than others. We've had years come up from darker places to be better than others.
Yeah.
But then we've also had years that are more challenging or challenging in different ways than others. So it's a journey. Don't
assume it's a downward spiral.
Yeah.
That's the trap.
Right.
Like, and what's interesting is someone pointed out that it's not degenerative, it's progressive.
Yes. I really liked that correction.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
That was like...
It's progressive.
Yeah.
Which I liked how they explained it, that the injuries stacked upon each
Exactly.
other. Yeah, because really what you're doing is taking a rope and rubbing it against a corner a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
So, yes. Thank you for that correction. That's awesome.
Yeah. On that note, though,
Yeah.
I think it's time that we go because your alarm went off.
Yes,
and
it's
I'm
time
dying.
to take my meds, or I will forget forever, because I forgot last week, even though you told me to take my meds. And I was like, I'm busy. And then I never took my meds.
So take your meds if you didn't at the
Yes.
break.
We
Finally
didn't
take
tell
them.
you to do that during the break.
Oh, well, we're getting it now. Take your meds.
Take your meds.
Oh my God. We always say take your
I'm
meds.
so sorry.
We're
We're failures.
we're just the worst. We're trash pandas,
Yes.
by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get into
It's
that.
a dumpster fire here.
Dumpster fire and we're little trash gremlins.
Yes. It's okay.
Little trashy boys.
Yeah. Little trashy boys. All right, friends. I hope that this has been informational at the very least.
Yeah.
That you have a better understanding of who we are and what our mission is,
Mhm.
and how we're going about it and where we're at and how welcome you are. So
Yeah.
stick around. Join the Discord.
Please.
Yes.
Please. I said
And
please. You
yeah.
have to do it. Come on. Don't be rude.
And if you found value in this video or this channel, please like this video, share it if you are able, and subscribe so that you see us more.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
And then we have a Patreon if you
Yeah.
really like us. Like
If you
a lot.
Really like. Ooh, help us buy some coffee. It's expensive out here. And I'm ill, and coffee is my only reason for life.
She's right.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, my friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. This was a really fun episode to do.
Mhm.
And I hope that you stick around and join the community. But with that, be kind to you, be kind to others, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. So, I follow a YouTuber
Yes.
called Coffee House Crimes. It's either Coffee House or that chapter. It's Coffee House
Okay.
that does this. He started ending his videos weirdly with
Okay.
take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Monster.